And welcome to a truly stylin or a stylus in or a stylophone in edition of Ben's Junk, the show where the opening joke doesn't always work. So this guy here was going to be the subject of the Ben's Junk I put out 2 weeks ago, but I hit some snags. But before I get to that, this is a stylophone, which, according to the box, is a pocket synthesizer, which I guess this would meet the basic criteria for synthesizer. You play it with a metal-tipped stylus on a metal, if you will, keyboard, and it's arranged to look like a piano or just any kind of keyboard instrument, if I can make the light hit it just right. But, of course, it's all about contact. So, this is basically a toy instrument that occasionally gets used by so-called more serious musicians. But the only reasonably well-known tune I can think of, certainly the only hit record I can think of that uses one of these, would be David Bowie's Space Oddity from 1969. Now, a little history lesson here. These were first introduced in 1968, only in the UK, and of all people, Rolf Harris was the spokesman for these things. These did ultimately find their way to America, but I think this is still more of a British thing. These were discontinued in the mid-70s, and there really isn't much of a history lesson to give beyond that. The current iteration of the company, Dubreq, I think that's how you pronounce it, started making these again in the mid-2000s. And actually, just let me get back to those snags I mentioned, because that's more interesting. So anyway, I'm always on the lookout for cheap, period, often novelty instruments to use on my still occasionally ongoing incidental music project for my little show here, though that project's been on hold for 5 or 6 months now. But initially, I found one of the original late 60s stylophones on Fleabay, and the price was right. I won the auction. And then the seller just seemingly fell off the face of the planet. It was never shipped. I have no idea what happened, but I did ultimately get a refund. But in that interim, I started thinking about this, and I knew they had started making new ones of these. And I ultimately figured I was probably just spinning in the wind trying to find a decent priced, fully functional original stylophone anyway, even though I much prefer the instruments I use in this project to be actual period pieces. So I broke down and I bought one of the new ones. But there's actually much more sophisticated models of these out there now. But in the name of period accuracy, I just went with the basic model. The just newly manufactured ones of the original 60s design. So the first new one I ordered didn't work at all. And this one was a little clunky at first, as you'll see with this little bit of footage I shot on my phone. So according to the manual, if it starts spazzing out on you, you're supposed to clean the keyboard and stylus with a mildly abrasive metal cleaner. So I wound up having to run out and buy a bottle of Brasso just for the occasion. Okay, let's give this a quick shot here. I'll just use my little microphone here to pick this up. Alright, much better. And this thing is still not at 100%. It still gets a little cranky with me. Now, before we test this bad boy out, I guess I ought to give a little rundown. So, of course, we've got the permanently attached stylus that you play the keyboard with. Now, the grill here is not just some cute design. There is a speaker down in there. But having said that, you can run the audio out to another source. I'll get back to that in just a minute here. On the other side, we've got the volume control. We've got 3 octaves that you can play, so not quite the range of most actual keyboard instruments. And then we've got 2 switches on the front here. The left one is just the power switch, and the right one is a built-in vibrato effect. And if I turn this upside down here, you can see this black thing sticking out. That is the tuning knob. Yeah, you have to tune this thing, and yes, I've already done that, so hopefully we're good to go here. And then we got the battery compartment. For what it's worth, these newer ones take 3 AA batteries. I think the originals ran on 9-volt batteries. Now, people like to run these things through guitar amplifiers and all sorts of effects, but I want to tackle this thing more or less as originally intended back in the 60s. So the closest to a concession I'm making here is that I'm taking a direct feed of the audio, in case you were wondering what the significance of this thing that's been laying around this entire episode is. And as such, I'm going to have to wear headphones while doing the demo so I can hear what I'm doing, and then I'm going to have to splice in the audio that I'm recording separately into the final video. But let me tell you right now, the sound will be a little distorted at times. I have tried to attenuate the signal a bit, but it only gets me so far. Now, I mean, I could try and mic this, but given the size of the instrument, I'm going to have to move it around to some degree, and that might be a bit of a proximity issue, so I just don't want to go there. Direct feed it is. But anyway, let's take a cut here, and I'll probably try in vain to play this thing at all, not just on camera. My performance skills are pretty bad on this. Since we're talking late 60s England here, I kind of feel obligated to try some British stuff of that period. And I only know a few keyboard songs in general, and just pieces of them, not even whole songs. So I can think of 2 British period things that I can kind of play little tiny snippets of. So I guess I'll give them a shot. I guess if nothing else, between my limited repertoire and how wonky I know my performances are going to be, hopefully the Content ID system doesn't pick up on these. Something tells me it'll have no idea what I'm trying to play. Something tells me half of you won't know what I'm trying to play. But anyway, this one goes out to all you Procol Harum fans out there. All 4 of you, of which I'm one of them. And I will just about guarantee you this will not be accurate at all. Yeah, I kind of fell off at the end there. Hopefully you picked that one up. I can think of another one of their songs that I know like 4 notes of. major bonus points to anybody that knows that one. Let's just try some like real basic thing that every kid that ever gets stuck at a piano does. So like. Let's try that at another octave. Okay, let's try that vibrato. Actually, I think I'm obligated to do this one. Let's try this. Boy, that sounds sci-fi-ish, doesn't it? I guess it's appropriate. We'll try that one more time. You know what? There are a few songs listed in the manual, but it's not actual sheet music. It's like if you ever had one of those harmonica books and it's all numbers. Well, it's the same thing here. You see the numbers on here. So let's see here. Obligatory David Bowie picture. Very young. Okay, so we got 3 songs to choose from here. And you know what? It's after Thanksgiving now. I think I'm allowed to do Christmas music now. So let's try Jingle Bells. If nothing else, so much of Jingle Bells is one note. It's probably about all I can sight read at this point. My sight reading skills are long, long gone. All right. Let's give this a shot. Yep, it's the new standard version of that one. Happy Birthday. Allegedly, that one's finally in the public domain now, so maybe I could do that without Warner Chappell jumping down my throat. Let's turn off that stupid vibrato. Maybe it's better with the vibrato. At least it has kind of that sci-fi thing. Try a different octave. Now that's just soap opera music. That's soap opera organ there. Today on General Hospital. I keep trying to shake it like I'm actually going to get vibrato out of it, aside from what's already put in there. Been playing guitar too long. Turn it into Pac-Man music there. Oh, well, I think we all get the idea now. So I'm just gonna quit before I embarrass myself anymore. That's it for today. I'll talk to you again soon.